So here we are again at the Southeast Biodynamic Conference, and I'm with this lovely lady from Salamander Springs Farms, and Miss Susana. Tell us about yourself and what you got there.
I'm here because I've come here a lot of years to teach. Basically, the interface between permaculture and biodynamics is a very big one. We have a lot.
Yes.
The organism of the farm versus basically permaculture principles tie very well with that because
totally.
it's a holistic system.
You know, Chris Bird told me right before his death he really regretted not getting a chapter on permaculture. And he told me, and he says, but the publishers were putting the deadlines. And he said, but it absolutely belonged in there. He knew it.
In the last 10 years, I mean, I've taught here probably more than 10 years, and at the North American when it was over here in Kentucky anyway. And there's been a lot of mutual interests where there hadn't been in the past. We were pretty much separate elements, but I really came in those early years before permaculture was much of a word and biodynamics was a little bit food to organic farmers. And I was on that interface at organic farming conferences, not even using the word permaculture. And a lot of biodynamic farmers were similar. They would just say, I'm organic, because they didn't want to go into that discussion about what you do. What? Yeah. And now it's a very different thing because we can see the life in the soil.
We see the results.
So important. And that's not just biodynamic and permaculture farmers. We have Elaine Ingham to thank, who I first met here in, Red Boiling Springs, Kentucky. She came here. And
no, we were actually in Tennessee, darling.
I'm sorry, in Tennessee. Just
over the border.
She came and, it's just seeing that mycorrhiza, understanding the soil life and what the soil food web was. It just validated those things that we know to be true, but science is now catching up.
So now you are a woman farmer and a single woman farmer.
Yeah.
And so what would you say to a woman who wants to get into farming?
Well, I'm a little weird. I built my house as well. I built, as construction as well. That was my background before. So that's often considered a challenge. I think we can do whatever we want to do and we have an interest in doing it. If it's not your interest, it's harder. But for me, I grew up with working the land, and so it wasn't necessarily my choice to always be single. It's just that when that is what life gives you, then you just go with it.
And anything can change too these days.
I also did live in the city, and I'd much rather the hard work than being a parasite. Yeah, which is the way it feels.
So now you are famous. Well, I know because I get your beans and your corn. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about corn? Wonderful.
So
I like this Kentucky rainbow.
Well, you can see the ears here. This is this year's harvest, and I sell this corn through Southern Exposure, which is a seed company in Virginia, and I call it Kentucky Rainbow because it has, after all the years of my selection and breeding, it's got so many different colors that weren't in the original ears that I had gotten from Damon Morgan in eastern Kentucky. He's long gone, but I got some ears from him. And he remembered Bloody Butcher parentage, which wasn't hardly in what I got because there was hardly any red. I brought the reds back, the painted orange. You can see here there's just all kinds of painted colors. And then the red and the blue, which I believe was blue claridge, is a corn that was in his part of the
look how straight.
Appalachian region.
This is so straight. Hugh told me he always looks for the really straight rows.
That makes it easier to shell, and it's actually something I learned. I learned corn selection from the people who developed corn, the Mayan people in Guatemala. So I had the best teachers. I don't think they would like the fact that I'm mixing all the colors up because the Mayan people identified their village or their aldea by the color of their tortilla. And so Don Gavino, who I learned from, he would roll over in his grave. He's like, you're supposed to keep it all blue or all red or all white or, that's what people... There was even a black Wambach. There was some aldeas that there was they considered it negro. It was so dark blue because of the there's two. I'm gonna get too technical. Pericarp in it. There's an endocarp and a pericarp. The outer and inner colors that scheme like
of
you can make a
course.
very dark blue out of your corn.
Oh,
Or
okay.
like the same thing with here. This is a very dark red versus a light red, red on red,
Yeah.
or blue on red, or the purples that you get, where it's red underneath on a blue.
Oh.
So it's mom and dad, the pollen and the silk getting together. It's kind of cool. I mean, when corn becomes your baby, you like think in those sex terms, I guess. I don't know.
So you go down south in the winter, or you stay on the farm in the winter?
Oh my gosh, I have so much work all year round. There's
Yeah, I
no
know
way.
it. I know.
No way. In fact, a lot of the winter work is the staple crops. I'm shelling every week. We have a market through the winter anyway, so
Yeah.
the staples are. Although I have a lot of sweet potatoes and potatoes through the winter, but
Yeah.
these grains and beans are a big part of the winter market for me, just getting me through.
And where do you market?
The well,
You
I
still
have a
have-
CSA, but also our farmers market, and I
yeah.
do market to a couple restaurants and stores.
Yeah.
But we have a market all year round.
Fantastic. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, this is cheese pumpkin. That's one of the favorites for the winter. It's like a butternut.
Yeah,
I
it's
think Jeff
beautiful.
grows this too.
Well, there's a lot of them around here, so somebody's growing
I
them.
don't know if he calls that one cheese or Long Island cheese, but I think so. He's got different shapes there. He might call it Cinderella. It's a little bit different than mine, but it's the same family. He's got weird delicatas too. They're very long.
Well, I think everything's
That's Jeff.
weird this year. And I love your pinto beans. And
You know,
so-
the black beans I grew because I lived in Guatemala. That's the bean that they
Yeah.
and I couldn't do without it when I moved back to the States.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love beans.
This is
I live
beautiful.
on beans.
Do you really?
Beans and cornbread. I used to be cooking beans and tortillas when I lived there, but cornbread here because I'm not really
So
good
you-
with
you-
tortilla making.
Well, you nixtamal your own corn, no doubt.
I have actually. We had a workshop. I wasn't the chef. I had a permaculture workshop on the farm where we had a Latin American night, and my chef actually nixtamalized and made tortillas. Her
Yeah.
father's from El Salvador, and so she
Yeah.
really had some history in her
Yeah,
family.
yeah, because we nixtamal our corn and then then grind it. And we've done it. I've done it with wood ash.
That's what
yeah.
I used to.
Yeah,
Seed wood ash.
yeah, exactly.
I think it's better than the pickling lime that people
Yes.
use up here. Because
Yes.
actually what they used in Guatemala wasn't wood ash, but it was a cal, it was lime, but
Yeah,
it was
slake
not-
lime,
it
we
was
call it.
not yeah.
Yeah.
It was not like what
Cal-
people call the pickling lime here.
I'm trying to remember what.
So
Anyway,
I like the wood ash just because it's a product of my own forest.
exactly. And
My wood
and it's
stove.
available, and I
It takes a
know.
while to sieve it because you have to
Yeah.
sieve it really fine.
I know one of the best presents I gave Hugh was a sieve for our ashes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he takes all the ashes out and he sieves them and puts them out on the ground.
Yeah. I
so.
put mine on the ground too,
Yeah.
or I get in the compost a bit.
Yeah, I've got 3 different grades of sieves for him.
That's great.
A funny present to give somebody. I've had the best thing for you.
Oh, well, is there anything else I can tell you?
What would you like to tell me?
I don't know.
I think you're incredibly courageous. How many years have you been doing this?
Well, I moved back from Latin America in 1999, and I got the land, and I'm pretty much up to it. So I've been 20 years on the land in Kentucky.
Wow.
Before that, I lived in Boston in the 80s, but in the 90s, I lived in Latin America. So, but I did grow up with farmers. I mean, I feel like I've been in agriculture a lot of my
Yeah,
life. I just had this divergence into architecture in Boston.
Well, it's not the dinner bell, is it?
No. I think it's the chain.
Class
Corey.
change.
I don't think so. I think it's Corey.
Well, I'm sure glad for your time. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.